Hello and welcome to this, the Under 15A team from Affies against Pretoria Boys High School Under 15As here on the A field. Yes, the Pretoria Derby. Afrikaans Universiteit School up against Pretoria Boys High School. And the two previous games just before this, really good running rugby from Pretoria Boys High School up against the Affies clinical machine. As we look at the Affies 15A side, LaRue Fraser, Neil de Kock, Gerrit de Ploy, Luan de Jager in the front row. Aiden Vermeulen, Johan ter Blanche, Lewis Bolton and Dylan Badenhorst Schnettler filling up the pack. Reinhard Groenewald, Willem Broer in the back row, and Lawrence Grobler, Heinrich Becker, Peter van Niekerk and Reinhard Kroon finishing things up. Pretoria Boys High School team: Peter Pretorius, Amani Mwanza, Chedza Poppy, Safran Fourie, Tyrese Retief, Ethan Johnson, Captain James Williams and Mahlati Mabelane bringing up that pack. Ulisa Singo, brother of Jeffrey Singo, at number 9. And we'll get through the rest of that Boys High team in just a second. Man in picture kicking us off. And immediately into touch. And almost an anticlimactic start to the game. You hunt for that first contact and it goes into touch. And it's almost as if, okay, cool, boys. Full start to the game, but nevertheless, Affies with a put into it. And a long ball over the back from the hooker Neil de Kock. Well taken, and the contact coming in the midfield, but little knock-on called, and early opportunity for Pretoria Boys to put themselves onto the score sheet. Coaches Hanku Dill and Reinu van der Merwe going to be chuffed with that, but be that as it may. Another side of things, Michelle Cross and Jason Reinders from Pretoria Boys High School, their coach is going to be very, very chuffed. And an early battle here for Peter Pretorius, Amani Mwanza and Chedza Poppy, the front row from Pretoria Boys High School. As balls popped into the scrum. Tight head given, unfortunately, away by Pretoria Boys High School, and a chance here for Affies, busting down the left-hand side. Contact taken, and Affies looking to find their strides. Reinhard Groenewald looking for his fly half, Willem Broer, and a good clearance made by Affies, but not into touch. And Pretoria Boys, they're going to look to initially run it before dropping it onto the boot. Travis Futa, the fullback, and Affies charging it down really, really well. Again, just opportunity after opportunity here for Affies to find their strides, to find their rhythm, to find their structure. And it's how can Pretoria Boys disrupt that? How can they get in the way? How can they stop this? And working all the way down the far side, but an immediately strong tackle. Look at that from the Boys High Boys. Big contact on the left-hand side, driving Affies back. The Boys High Boys showing they had to play, and forcing Affies now onto the boot. Really long kick coming back to Travis Fita again. Running it from the back, beats the first, second tackle, and the third eventually brings him down on the cricket pitch. And running hard are these Pretoria Boys High School boys, playing with a lot of pride. Chedza Poppy, the tight head, beats one, rumbles into the second. And working the ball really well down the blind side of Pretoria Boys High School. Some really enterprising stuff are the under 15A. Straight away, that champagne rugby we've seen from Pretoria Boys throughout the day. Really, really good stuff. I don't believe that is Mulisa Singo in the number 9 jersey. Must have been a late change from the Boys High Boys, but be that as it may, deputizing at scrummy. And now, oh, look at the hands from the big man in the front row is connecting. And soft skills from Boys are so good before eventually given into the hands of right winger and forced to deputise time and time again, but boys are just doing so well at getting past that first defender, not running at the shoulders of the Affies boys. They know that they're physically a smaller side, so using their feet in and out and showing really, really what they're about here, managing to elicit the penalty. And conversation on the sideline potentially for Poles. We saw Chedza Popi pointing at Poles, but I think these boys are boys. They're going to want more. They're going to want that first try. And initially just a small injury coming into one of the Affies boys. First injury we've actually seen of the day on the A field here at Pretoria Boys High School. And so it's been good clean rugby thus far, but looks like it might just be a little bit of blood or something of the like. So nothing too serious, thankfully. And a good clearance finder. Apologies not to be talk about commentator's curse as ball's kicked dead. Again, Pretoria Boys, they've got Butle Adonis at fly half. I don't think that's Butle Adonis. So we're working with our numbers here, folks, doing our absolute best, but be that as it may, ball kicked dead from Pretoria Boys and an opportunity lost. And I think that's been the flavour of the day really so far, is opportunity after opportunity just being given away. And very, very difficult for these boys, our boys, to just, to stay in the game when they have the opportunities and then they don't take them. And on the other side of the line, Affies boys, given a sniff, they are playing phenomenal rugby and really, really playing well. Ball put into the scrum from Reinhard Groenewald. Strong scrum, that big boys our front row being taken to court and looking to get it wide straight away. Affies in the hands of their fullback, Reinhard Kroon. He's done really well to get it out wide to the right winger, Peter van Niekerk. He's going to score the first try of the game. And beautiful running rugby all the way wide off first phase. And that's what we've been speaking about, folks. You have the Affies boys given a sniff, they're going to score, and Pretoria Boys, when they get those opportunities, not able to take them. And the frustrating stuff for the boys high coaches, but just another look at that beautiful running rugby. Kroon down the right side, and Van Niekerk calling it at the perfect moment and missed tackled at the end, making it all too easy for the Affies boys. And a really good contact. Not able to have the direction, however, so it's going to stay 5 points to 0. And again, just the narrative throughout the day is Affies take their chances and boys high don't. But what a beautiful, beautiful fixture, classic fixture. Affies' oldest derby and the Pretoria derby, as I've been calling it throughout the day. But it really is that, separated by just a road and a train track. Pretoria Boys High School and Afrikaans Voorsien School. Two great institutions, two very proud institutions, two great rugby schools, and showing another classic encounter between these two sides as part of the King's Price Derby series. As Affies immediately happy to run it out of their 22, looking maybe to set for the kick, which now has to come. Wilhelm Boer managing to find a good bit of leather, allowing it to bounce. Maybe not the right option from Daniel Becker, the left winger from Pretoria Boys High School, but that being said, maybe thought it could have maybe gone out on the full, but nevertheless, it's going to be a boys I put into the line out. A great kick from Wilhelm Boer, and the challenge here for Pretoria Boys. Good banker in the middle, not well taken, but playing the man in the air, the decision from the referee, the right decision, I do believe. And an opportunity here to clear their lines. Mani Mwanza to put into the line out. 4-man option for Pretoria Boys High School. Banker in the middle again. Well drilled line out and coming down into the maul. Mwanza with control of it at the back, and very well set from Pretoria Boys, but we can see the Affies men working their way through the middle. Look at the tussle between the locks in the middle of that maul. That's what rugby's all about, those one-on-one battles, and eventually coming down. Opportunity here for Pretoria Boys, well met behind the advantage line by the Affies boys. That's a beautiful read by Heinrich Becker, the outside centre. And boys are forced to figure themselves from there behind the advantage line, and just the offload in the contact, maybe not the right option. Going a little bit forward, they had the numbers, the Pretoria Boys, and letting the hands do the work may have been the way to do the work, but be that as it may. Encouraging stuff from both sides. I think evenly matched throughout this first 10 minutes. Sort of been the conversation throughout the day, you know, the matchup between these two sides, and where there's evenness, where there's maybe a little bit of a lopsidedness, and definitely in the first 10 minutes of this match, bar that runaway try, it's been really, really positive stuff from both sides. Healthy crowd starting to pull in. The sun much warmer than the Joburg derby a week ago. JP versus Cares, it was a chilly encounter, that one, to say the least, but beautiful sunny Pretoria day for some running rugby, and the stuff that dreams are made of here on the A field. And a great kick coming from Wilhelm Mood off first phase, happy to pump it downfield, and no 50-22s in schoolboy rugby, or are there? Always an interesting one. Some referees happy to play it, some referees not. And it's going to be a 50-22, a great kick from Wilhelm Boer, and the Affies boys with an opportunity which is now missed. Maybe a turnover at the line out. Quite sure what the conversations there. No ref cam today, folks, so ref mic rather, so working of what we see, but be that as it may, Pretoria Boys with a put in a Mani Mwanza. I think it may have been the fact that they're not playing 50-22s, I don't know, but nevertheless, eyes too big for their stomach, and it's going to be Affies put into the scrum, and it's, again, just small things like that, just eager to get into the contact, eager to get over the advantage line, and just letting it slip out. See the passion for both these sides, Pretoria Boys High and Affies supporters alike, streaming into Afrikaanse Hoërseën School. And the great things about this town is that a lot of these boys are going to go to university at Tikkies just across the road, so ample old boy support from both these institutions. Respective girls' schools also just across the road, really 4 schools in such close proximity to one another, and so healthy support to be expected whenever these two monsters square off against one another. And as I mentioned a little bit earlier, the weather playing their part, and just a beautiful day for some running schoolboy rugby, as Affies with a very strong scrum. Coming away with it is the 8th man, Dylan Barden or Schnettler. And roll away there, do Pretoria Boys, and they do. Opportunity here, good chop tackle coming in, and one thing that always amazes me is the mismatch in size often between these two sides, and the Boys High boys often doing their best to stand up to it, as we see the knock-on coming in contact before the charge down from the Affies boys. And I think there it is, the charge down right square to the face, the great fear of any defensive player. But bravery, playing with their arm in their sleeve, and we see a ball coming away. Good option to clear it, I think, but square to the pip. That one's going to hurt for a little bit to see in picture, but as I mentioned, happy to do anything for their schools, playing with their hearts on their sleeves, and just checking everyone's all right. Might be a little bit of a bloody nose, but player safety always taken with the utmost seriousness at a schoolboy rugby level. And opportunity now to clear, that actually worked out really well for Pretoria Boys High School, as they're going to get that 22-meter drop out. Imagine they're going to want to pump it long. Tissue up the nose, have it ready to go. And again, really great kick, pumped really long, finding grass. And it always amazes me the skill of such young rugby players in South Africa. I mean, these boys are 14, maybe 15, and playing with such a high level of skill and soft skills and ability. So credits and kudos to the coaching staff of both these schools as Affies boys look to set in the middle, get their structure going, but straight through the middle goes the Affies boys. It's Wilhelm Boer, the fly half, looking for support. He needs it, coming back inside and running backwards to find a little bit of space, but eventually brought down by the Pretoria Boys High boys and hitting a retreating Boys High defender in the head. Cheeky stuff from Reinhard Groenewald. I'm not sure if there is an advantage which is being played, but nevertheless, the Affies boys firmly in support. And previous shock almost disintegrating as Groenewald looks for support. Calling it out the back now is Boer. Getting the offload away, all the way to the winger, and it's almost simple stuff for Renier Potgieter as he walks himself over in the corner. And a traditional winger try, holds his width really well and finishes beautifully, does the left winger. And Pretoria Boys High School just outnumbered on the outside. Really good patience from the Affies boys this way and then that. And we just see the narrow defense. Spot tackle made, but cover just not quite quick enough. And Renier Potgieter adding the second try of this first half. 10 points to 0 in favour of the host. The kick to come. As we see the King's Price Derby Series logo on the ball. Extra's not out. It's going to say 10 points to 0, but just a note on the King's Price Derby Series. King's Price bringing us all the best schoolboy rugby games throughout this season, and there really have been some properly classic clashes, and absolute privilege to have been involved in them. King's Price bringing all the best derbies, and as mentioned, really phenomenal to have been a part of them. And looking forward to derbies which we're going to be seeing next year as Travis Fitar gets us underway. Good contact. First time tackles have been great from the Boys High boys throughout this under 15A team game, and just coming off the side of his boot is Wilhelm Boer. It's going to go into touch, almost straight into touch, and not his best kick, he'll admit that himself. But an opportunity now for Pretoria Boys High School. 8 minutes left on the clock in this first half to pull themselves back into this game. And just 10 points to 0, a 7-point try. All of a sudden, Pretoria Boys have the ascendancy, but just about taking those opportunities. It's been the nature of the game all day for the Boys High boys, and they need to get it away now. Fitar looking for runners. Finding it are the Boys High boys. Looking for the plus or the minus, not able to get it, and absolutely milked in the contact. A good bit of work to get the ball out there, and the ingenuity from the scrummy just to almost come in at the side. Not called it from the ref, but Chedza Poppy, the tight head, looking to get that ball away, not able to do so. Having to reset our Pretoria boys, the knock-on coming, and it's all coming up. Affies now as Boer gets it all the way into the far hands of this fullback, Recha Kroon. There's a little knock on. The referee's back was turned, but I think, judging by the response of the players behind him and the response of the Affies players, I think the referee could figure that one out. And it's going to be put into the scrum for Pretoria Boys High School. So no harm, no foul from that mess line out just a couple of phases ago, but much further back. And the A field here at Affies is a big field. I think something that we don't often speak enough about is that these Boys High boys, they're very rarely going to have played on a first team field. It's not often that at English-speaking boys schools anywhere that the 15As are playing on the A field. It's often the 16As, third, seconds, and first. And so they're not used to playing on such a big field. They'll be playing on Oili or Dory across at Pretoria Boys, which is a slightly smaller field, and so there's a lot more space for them to play with, and I think something they need to be cognizant of as they look for runners out wide. They find the plus, beautifully slicing through the middle of Pretoria Boys, and there's the step, looking for the corner, and what a drive for the visitors, over in the corner. That's got to be one of the tries of the season for Pretoria Boys High School. Beautiful set piece this way and then that way, and cutting through the hosts. Boys High, they're in this game. They're not going anywhere as we have another look at it. Off the scrum, utilising the space this way and then that way, and how's that for a drift line into the space, and just the step this way, that way, and the pace to go over in the corner. It's beautiful, beautiful rugby from Pretoria Boys High School. We don't have a number on it, but I do believe it is Philip Diocha, the inside centre, who's managed to get away there. And the extras to be added now, but just beautiful rugby from Pretoria Boys. And I would say close to the try of the day, definitely the try of the day for his school on the A field, and one the young man can be proud of. Good strike. The extras are added in with 5 minutes left, and this is the first half. There's 3 points in it. Definitely the game of the day thus far on the A field, and that try has really blown it open, folks. Nice deep coming in, the try scorer. Taking control of it off the back, happy to have his hands on the ball. And it might have been a tackle. Affies boys trying to hold Pretoria Boys up, but now the pick and go down the blind. Cheeky, definitely cheeky. And Pretoria Boys, it looks of it, are going to get away with it, but one off down the blind side, maybe not ideal, but nevertheless an opportunity now to clear his lines. I do believe that is Boutle Adonis, the fly half. The blue scrum cap, and getting away are the Affies boys here. Long ball over the top, quite able to gather it. There's the left winger, Renier Potgieter. And now the penalty to Pretoria Boys. They're all over this Affies side, folks. And it's going to be interesting to see how Affies respond for the first time today. And Affies side has been up against the kosh, and Boys have got their tails up. They're ready to go, they're ready to move, they're ready to groove. And interesting to see, as I mentioned, how these Affies boys are going to respond. Pretoria Boys are throwing down the gauntlet. Walking, and it's going to be a 5-man line out for Boys High. I imagine there's going to be a banker in there. They want to just get their hands on the ball, set that maul, and immediately going forward. But truck and trailer for Pretoria Boys High School. They're not going to be happy with that one. Opportunity missed, and I think the right decision being made. Affies not immediately driving on the maul because they went up twice. And Boys High, they need to show an appreciation for the laws. They need to allow that maul to set. They need to give Affies a chance to push back. And great clearance made by Afrikaans Hoorsie and Squirrel. Long ball over the top, not a bad option at all for Affies, but playing it off the ground. They want to let their backs go. They want to find that space, and they find it well there into the hands of their fullback, Reachard Kroon, again doing damage. Affies in those wider channels, and what a game of schoolboy rugby we've had here, folks. Boys High with the champagne try. Affies coming back, doing what they need to, allowing their forwards to rumble. They want to put themselves further ahead in this game, and patience is required here, but hunted down is Reinhard Groenewald by Amani Mwanza, the hooker. But hunted down illegally, so offside. And with a minute and a half left, 90 seconds in the first half, Affies are going to have an opportunity to put themselves back ahead. Banker in the middle, throwing it to the front. A little shift move from the Affies boys. They learnt it from the box, and it's going to be a try. Beautiful to see that trick play at schoolboy level. And going into the halftime break, Affies are going to pull further ahead, and I think that was really an important try in the context of this game. Boys had their tails up. As we have another look at it here, long ball over the back. Looked as if Boys were going to sack it, and catching the Boys unawares. Really, really good training ground move, and one that's definitely going to fit somewhere into that highlight reel for the Affies boys. But be that as it may, as I mentioned, in sort of the context of this game, 30 seconds now left on the clock in this first half, and Boys High have got their tails up. They're playing good rugby. They know that they're in it. But at the end of the day, rugby's not a game of feelings. Rugby's a game of scores. And for Affies to pull ahead here, currently 8, and now 10 points ahead with the last play of the half en route. It changes the narrative going into the halftime break. Boys High know that they're in it, but they also know that they need to score 2 or 3 tries to win this game, as we have the halftime hooter in the background. Whereas if it's a 3-point game, much easier to say, listen boys, we one try, we one score away from winning it. So important here that Boys High managed to get themselves back into the game, and back into the game quickly. And I mean, if there was a way to do it, that would be the way. Rising high are the Boys High boys, giving themselves an opportunity. The penalty advantage coming offside were Affies. Boys High, really strong carry coming in. Really strong carry coming in. The offload away. Patience needed now for Boys High. They're 1 meter away. They fall onto the line. And it's going to be a try. Under the poles for the little scrummy. He's had a phenomenal game so far. He's kept them ticking over. And I couldn't have asked for a better way to keep this game tight than for Pretoria Boys High School to score going into the halftime break. They've responded like there's no tomorrow. And I thought they might have missed it, but how's this run? It set it all up. Beautiful, beautiful carry. Getting the offload away, the presence of mind, and then this, not to reach, not to move twice. And almost, like I said, almost messing it up for themselves. All they needed to do was fall onto the line. And the referee more than happy to give that try away. And so with a kick to draw it back to 3. Knocks it over, 3 points in it at the end of the first half. And folks, this is definitely the game of the day thus far on the A field. Afrikaans Hoërseën School, the hosts, 3 points ahead of the visitors from across the tracks, Pretoria Boys High School. We're going to be back in just a second for a second half that you don't want to miss, right here on Super Sports Schools, your home of school sports. Hello and welcome back to the A field here at Afrikaans Hoërseën School in Pretoria. It's the Pretoria derby between Pretoria Boys High School and Affies, and a really great first half as we look at that first try from Affies drawing first blood, getting away, and then a beautiful bit of finishing coming in from the right winger. It was Pieter van Niekerk from Affies. The second try for Afrikaans Hoërseën School, just good patience, good hands, off-road coming in nicely, and then just a complete winger's try for Renier Potgieter. So the Affies wings are feasting, but then this, the try of the first half, Pretoria Boys High School, beautiful drift line. We'll get back to it in a second, I'm sure, but really great try from Philip de Jager. And then the second try from Boys High, keeping them in. It's a 17 points to 14, all to play for, and definitely the game to watch thus far today. As a long, deep kickoff comes in from Affies, the knock-on, taking their eyes off it for a second. It was Amani Mwanza, the winger, or apologies, the hooker. He wishes he was a winger. Every hooker does. And Affies in possession of it, busting one or two tackles. I'm sure there would have been a talking to at half-time for these Affies boys. They want to get themselves further ahead in the game, and the narrative throughout this fixture is that Affies are just going to walk over the Boys Eye boys, and these under 15A Boys Eye players, they're not rolling over. They're not going anywhere. As Affies charge early on in the second half. Patience required for the Affies boys, working the phase as well. Eventually laying it off to the tight head prop, Gerrit du Plooy. From close range, he's a big boy, and very difficult to stop someone as powerful as him. And so Affies immediately pulling ahead in the beginning of the second half. Pretoria Boys finding themselves under the sticks early on, and it's almost like that first half jet lag. We see the dummy pump coming from Reinhard Groenewald, and then Gerrit du Plooy powering his way over, and so it's almost that first half jet lag, that half-time fatigue that always steps in. And the extras added, extending the lead for Afrikaans Hoërseën School, 22 points to 14. And the Pretoria Boys really going to have to respond here. Short kickoff opted for, not going to go 10, so Affies with the opportunity to play it, but instead choosing the 5 meter. Scrum time's been an interesting one today, real even Stevens battle thus far, and the first scrum of this, the second half. Interesting to see how, again, whether that half-time fatigue is worn off, and something that I don't think enough players are cognizant of. You come off the half-time break, you're feeling fired up, but legs have been still for a couple of moments, and that energy, that intensity you felt at the end of the first half has started to abate. But a really strong scrum coming in from the Boys Eye boys. Chedza Poppy having a big game in that tight head jersey. And I think there has been a change in the loose head jersey. Rati Letualo coming onto the field for Peter Pretorius, I do believe. But again, folks, no numbers on these jerseys, so we're working our best here. Reinhard Groenewald with the feed. Solid scrum for the Affies boys, and immediately looking to pump it long as Wilhelm Boer. Well taken care of at the back. Dropped onto the boot by Pretoria Boys. Happy to let it go. They don't want to play from within their own 22, but an opportunity here for Affies to counter-attack. Instead, keeping his head up. That's really good rugby from Wilhelm Boer. The fly half from Affies, he could have run it, he could have slung it wide, but he keeps his head up, looks for the space, and pumps it deep into the Pretoria Boys High School half. Not only is it a great kick, it's also 50-22, and an opportunity for Affies just 10 meters out to impress themselves on the second half. Banker in the middle again, looking for that shift to the front. They scored right at the end of the first half like that. just moving the boys high pack around. The boys high boys slightly wiser to it this time around, but nevertheless rumbling forward are the Affies boys. And Neil de Kock in firm control of it at the back, and it's going to be another try for Afrikaans Oorsee and School. Really good shift maul again, just showing the value of a training ground move, showing the value of unlocking that power as just a really good strong tight maul from Affies. You can see Reinhard Groenewald, the scrummy, just taking control of it at the back, marshalling them forward, and ultimately the try coming. And I think that really is the challenge with Affies, is they have this power, they have these complete athletes, these physical machines playing rugby for them, but it's how do you unlock it, how do you do it cleverly, how do you do it without just the traditional banker at the front and a maul, and doing it really well, unlocking it. Such lucidity of the coaches, Hanko Dill and Reinu van der Merwe. Extras added for Valhallenboer, and it really is turning into a Affies second half, 31 points to 14, and Pretoria Boys needing to find a little bit of that flair which they had in the first half, and which kept them in it at half time. Buhle Adonis. Much better kickoff than the one to start the half, and Affies in control of it. Groenewald feeds Boer, pumps it really long, really long. Talk about a great kick. That's almost for an under 15, 80 meters downfield, and must be said that the Affies touch judges called that a 50-22, and on the bounce it was close, but nevertheless a really good kick from Valhallenboer coming up Affies side this time around, and they've got to put into the line out. You can see the boys looking just a touch dejected. They're going to have to find themselves again in the second half. A good sack, stopping that Affies maul. Really good option. Buhle Adonis with the rip in the contact, but illegally so. Tackler not releasing the call. It's going to be a penalty to Affies. And just the last couple of penalties, the last couple of moments in the game have gone Affies' way, which have allowed them to just consistently stay in this boys high 22. And with 18 or so minutes left in this game, in the second half, in the season for both these sides, it's really important. I feel that Pretoria Boys are able to just hold out here, missing the sack, not what you want at all. Amani Mwanza. Affies doing a good job of holding it up, and there comes the try. Neil de Kock, another one for the hooker, rumbling behind this very strong Affies pack, and this really has been, can't count the number of maul tries scored today from Affies on this field. The first 3 games edging up on 10, over 10 in 3 games. And just the maul, such a powerful asset to this Affies side. Alou Burger, he was in the commentary box with me for the first 2 games. He mentioned that he's a student at Affies, but he mentioned that Affies boys, they know how to maul, and they will maul. And we're seeing that maul today. Valhallenboer, solid strike. It's going to stick off the post though, so no extras added there. We'd like to see the boys, our boys, get a little bit of hold of this ball, get the ball out to their pacemen on the outside. Lucky Mokwena, Daniel Becker. We haven't seen a great deal of ball in the hands of the wingers, but it'd be nice to see them have a go. Strong kick off from Buhle Adonis. Almost diving on top of him was Daniel Becker, but nevertheless Valhallenboer again pumping it long. And this really is the asset of a long kicking fly half, as it's so easy to clear your lines. Before a really good response, it's Travid Fitar, I do believe, the man in the Pretoria Boys scrum cap, and it would have been him who scored that phenomenal try in the first half for Pretoria Boys as well. Again, just trying to get the name and the number right. Long ball over the back for Affies, very well taken. Bood looking for his forwards and working it out the back, this way and that way. Strong bit of defense coming in. Offside where the boys are boys, giving that penalty advantage and something now for Affies to work with. Rumbling right through the middle, beating the first contact and leg driving the second man, having to take him down. And Groenewald immediately looking wide. Are the Affies boys into the hands of Peter van Niekerk, who scored a try in the first half. Carry coming in from Leroux. Fraser Bood happy to take it to the line himself as the fly half. Groenewald looking for runners, finds a start yet, Gerrit du Plooy. And the little knock on coming in from referee. Respite for the boys are boys. Referee Stefan Null having a really game so far, really wily and staying aware of where he needs to be. Making some really good calls today. It's going to be a short arm shoving before the ball's in. And Affies really giving one away there. Pretoria Boys get out of jail free card, as the cliche would go. Opportunity to get out of their own 22, and I think they just need to find a little bit of that spirit, a little bit of that gees, a little bit of that energy that they had in the first half that kept them in the game. And as much as they can be proud of that first half performance, they want to have something to be proud of here in the second half. Banker in the middle for Affies. Neil de Kock finding his jumpers so well today. Comment on sort of the skills of these players, you know, the basics that done so well. Hookers are always going to find their jumpers. You know, these are things that you would expect players to be able to do, but to do it at this age, to do it with this ability is just something special. And the ball comes down. Referee Null deemed it to have been Affies who brought it down, and hard running Laurens Grobler looking to get over the advantage line and press himself on this game, but not able to do so. And so it's going to be a pop into the scrum for Pretoria Boys. Healthy crowd coming in to Affies this afternoon. Apologies, still this morning, but soon to be afternoon as we build up to the King Prize Derby Series main game between the Candies and Affies' first side on the A field here. But in the build-up, Pretoria Boys struggled a little bit here, a little bit there, and again struggling in the scrum. Down in their knee, referee now with the right decision, and Affies initially had the ascendancy a couple of phases ago, so Wilhelm Boer happy to pop them in the corner. But yeah, just a mention on the crowd, I think coming in to watch what's going to be a really, really good game of rugby. The Affies and Pretoria Boys both having varying seasons. Boys are very chuffed with their season, beating Cares Maritzburg College last weekend. And so going to be a great main game a little bit later. But phenomenal rugby on the A field at the minute as the Affies boys look to get on their bike with the penalty advantage. Grobler looking to go. Good contact made. Working it back are the Affies boys. Patience required for the hosts. Pretoria Boys first time tackle missed, but the rip coming in, I believe there might have been a penalty advantage. We'll wait for referee Null's decision as to what the penalty was for. Yeah, a couple of penalties given away, and so the option collapsing the maul, the initial penalty, choosing that one, and I imagine Wilhelm Boer just gonna pop it in the corner, but no, I imagine incorrectly. Reinhard Groenewald looking for his big men, looking for his runners. And the boys forced to man up, muscle up. Doing so well on that first phase. Grobler forwards out the back to Boer on the angle, on the line. Really good running of the Affies boys, and they're going to be more than happy with that. Walked it over, showed good patience, and a beautiful interplay between backs and forwards, ultimately resulting in that result. As another look at it here, it's just beautiful bit of power initially before the deft handling Boer on the angle, and I do believe it is Heinrich Becker again, folks, working without numbers, but outside centre who's managed to finish that one off. Man who got a proper hit to the face a little bit earlier on in the game, and managed to come back while finishing off with a try there. Extras added by Wilhelm Boer, 43 points to 14 in what has been a powerhouse second half for this Affies side. 17-14 at half time, and just really good rugby so far. Affies scoring 26 unanswered points in the second half. Very difficult to stay on top of things on the Affies boys. You see the Affies supporters in picture, more than happy with the performance thus far on the A field. Just after this, folks, we're going to have the Black Shorts from Pretoria Boys, the second team, up against Affies' seconds. And thereafter the 16As, and then the main game. So lots of rugby still to come on the A field from Afrikaans U15A school. Getting it away, Wilhelm Boer, happy to take it himself as the fly half. The presence of mind to get it wide, and look at the running from the left winger, Renier Potgieter, I do believe it is, who finishes that one off. Beautiful bit of running, all started by Wilhelm Boer, kick started by Wilhelm Boer, and the presence of mind, not just to have it himself, not just to kick on and go, but to distribute the running lines of support. It's all just beautiful champagne rugby from the Afrikaans U15A school boys. As we have another look at it here, folks, just the kick and go, knowing he's got the pace, spotting the mismatch, the dog leg, him up against the prop, and as I mentioned, just getting it away. Beautiful playground stuff, 3-on-1. Too much pace to finish it off for the Affies boys. It's 48 points to 14, and this to bring up the 50 for Wilhelm Boer. Definitely one of the players of the matches thus far. Had a really good game, has the young man. Adds the extras. It's 50 points to 14 to the host with 8 minutes to play. And as mentioned, Pretoria Boys a little bit earlier in the game, playing really good rugby, just needing to find a bit of that structure, a bit of that rhythm, a bit of that gears. And Affies just need to keep doing what they're doing. Wilhelm Boer in picture there just for a second. He's had a great game from the fly half jersey. His opposite number, Butle Adonis, looking to get us going. Good kickoff. Nearly well taken, but Affies boys get away with it. Gerrit Duploy bursting away, and strong tackle from the Boys High boys. Boot again, just dominating the game with his boot. Butle Adonis happy to clear his lines. And not a terrible clearance at all, but definitely a net gain for Affies, and it just comes from having a player with as big a boot as they do, and able to pump it so far downfield. And as much as that's a phenomenal clearance from Butle Adonis, it nevertheless still leaves Affies in a very favourable position in terms of their attacking line out, and the strong carry coming in from the try scorer. Manages just to get the offload away, and trouble down the left-hand side here for Pretoria Boys High School. Affies in possession of it, just shy of the 22. Hard running. Gerrit Duploy looking to make an angle of it. The penalty coming to Pretoria Boys. Beautiful work on the jackal. And ultimately, I do believe it's Ethan Johnson who has had a great game in the black scrum cap, their open side flanker. Mani Mwanza finding his jumper in the line out. And the carry requested, captain James Williams working down the blind again. Oh, Pretoria Boys, this looks really good into the hands of the right winger, Lucky Mukwena. Seen desperate little of Lucky to Mukwena today, but good to see him get his hands on the ball as Boys are. They're not giving up just quite yet. Strong carry beating the outside shoulder, and this is a bit more of what we saw in that first half. Adonis looking for runners, working it out the back of Pretoria Boys. Maybe one extra pass required before the big tackle comes in, but going to work all the way back. Penalty advantage deemed, referee null. And Pretoria Boys just going a little bit laterally the last couple of phases there after the high tackle, but nevertheless coming away with the penalty. Opportunities to drive into the Affies half, and with a couple of moments left, not just of this game but of their season, this is an opportunity for these boys to impress themselves on this Affies team, to have something to remember, and in a sense something to work for next year. Under 16, such an important age group in terms of schoolboy rugby. Grant Como selection up for grabs, and sort of that age where the boys start to become men, and rugby becomes a little bit more serious, dare I say it. So important that they finish this 15A season on a high note, and to build into the under 16 season. There's a shift more not working quite as desired. Pretoria Boys still, I believe, in possession of it, and they're managing to get it away now. Adonis looking for runners outside. It's Max Mungwa, the outside centre. But we're going to come back. I think there might have been a little bit of obstructive running from the Pretoria Boys, high school boys. So working all the way back to the line. I think actually what may have happened is that the touch judge has put his arms out, and referee now allowed play to carry on. That is actually what's happened, folks. So it's going to be an Affies put into the line out. Again, just an opportunity lost. The narrative of the game and of the day indeed so far on the A field, folks. Pretoria Boys with their opportunities and not able to take them, but very well taken in the air. Tyrese Retief, I do believe it is, and work down the blind side for Pretoria Boys. They're in the trams, and a little bit of patience required as we look to close out this game. Little knock on coming in from Chedza Poppy, and again just opportunity, but not quite able to capitalize the way that they would have won at Pretoria Boys. Really exciting game happening after this, folks. It's second 15s from these respective institutions. Black shorts from Pretoria Boys High School up against Affies' second side, and then the 16As in the big game, the King Price Derby Series main game a little bit later on. Really an enterprising day of rugby thus far. Some beautiful tries scored from both sides. Some positive signs of the talent and ability available at these two institutions, and Affies are going to look to finish this game out strong. 2 and a bit minutes left. Playing from deep. Boer not going to kick it. He's going to give his backs a chance to run it. And this is what they've wanted all game in the hands of Peter van Niekerk, the first try scorer way back at the beginning of this game. Dragged down is van Niekerk, and before making significant meters on his opposite number, and Wilhelm Boer, he's at it again, taking the ball to the line as the fly half. Hard running Gerrit du Plooy. Good chop tackle coming in from his opposite number, Chedza Poppy. And Heinrich Becker now looking to get the ball out wide. Affies, but just can't hold on to it. Come back for an infringement. The Boys are Boys too eager on the tackle, and it's going to be an offside call against them. Beautiful. Good touch finder into the Boys I-22, and that really has been how Affies have played the whole day. It's been clinical. I mentioned a little bit earlier, used the metaphor of almost a surgeon's scalpel. So easy to just move it phase by phase, play by play upfield, and now finding themselves again in another attacking opportunity, and very, very well drilled, well coached side of the Affies Boys. Missing the line out there, however, but nevertheless, Boer, Becker, looking to move it out wide. Little dummy pump, 1 then 2, and it's going to be another try for the Affies Boys. Not quite under the poles, but beautiful, beautiful head-up rugby. And I do believe it is Lourens Grobler, the inside centre, who's gone over for his first try of the game. It's 55 points to 14 with just a couple to go. Boer pops it over. Those Affies boys, they don't want to stop just quite yet. Let's have another look at it here. Almost opportunistic, so to speak. The boys are boys up in his face. Pumps it once, pumps it twice. And more than happy to go through the dog leg created. Really good individual try from Lourens Grobler. Moving into what should be the last play of the game. Close to it anyway as Butle Adonis kicks that one out on the full. And so midfield scrum opportunity for Affies. They're going to want to put one more on the board. It's been an absolutely clinical second half performance from Affies. If you're just joining us here, the halftime score 17 points to 14. And Affies scoring 40 unanswered points in the second half. Pretoria Boys playing really well in that first half, but just not able to capitalize on the momentum which they had going into the halftime break. And with the hooter going in the background, I'd say the whistle, but the hooter going in the background, we are now to see the final play of the game. Strong scrum coming from the hosts, and Grobler gets it out. Little dink onto the boot. Becker is chasing, and looks like there's going to be a little knock on there. And folks, that is going to be it. The end of this under 15A team clash between Afrikaans Hoërseun School and Pretoria Boys High School from just across the tracks. It's 57 points to 14, the third win on the trot for Affies on this, the A field, but the second teams are up just a lick, and they're going to be looking to turn things around. Are the Black Shorts? We'll be back in just a second. Right here on SuperSport Schools, your home of school sports.